Hey guys, Josh from J&P Cycle, and we have a little update for the custom build. We ended up picking up a 1995, I believe, Xr200. So we got it, and the motor was already tore apart for us, so he saved us some work. We love to see that.
Yeah.
So Pap and I are going over the motor right now to see exactly what's needed. The crank seems to have barely any play in it, so that's good. It looks like the chain guides are a nice shape. So we're going to video the whole process so that if somebody wants to rebuild a 200 motor, you can see how it's done. We've probably done, how many of these, Pap?
20, 30.
20, 30, 200 motors. So we're no Mickey Dunlap, but we can definitely rebuild them and get them running nice. So hopefully you'll learn something that's useful for you. And we'll be going over that today. So like I said, it's already tore apart. We got the top end over there. We're going to do some honing on the cylinder. The cylinder looks to be in pretty decent shape. The guy even had a piston kit for us, so we're going to use that. It's a numeric kit. He's got the gaskets and everything, so we're going to get cracking on that. We'll kind of talk you through the whole process of how to get these bad boys together with the rings and all those sorts of things. So just enjoy and follow along as we go, and feel free to ask questions in the comment section. Leave us a like and subscribe to the channel for a chance to win this bike. So alright guys, so a couple tools you're going to need for the Xr200 rebuild. Just kind of wanted to go over that first. So we always have these wrenches. We use a Craftsman set. Typically the 8, the 10, and the 12 are used the most. We have an impact screwdriver that we use to get apart different pieces of the clutch side. You'll need this to get this cover off. That's the oil passage cover. We're actually going to show you guys that piece, how to clean that. The oil filters on these bikes, it's really not a true oil filter. It's really just kind of a catch basin for shavings that the motor will wear off as time goes on. Most of the shavings come from inside here. The chain will actually wear a lot of the case away in this spot, so that's where most of your shavings are going to come from on this bike. We got out the honing tool.
That's all beautiful in there. But
yeah, it looks pretty nice.
This one's never been run too loose.
Mm-hmm. I mean, these guides are even in really good shape, which usually when we buy these bikes, the guides are just gone or broken in half.
So this motor has very little run time on it. I wouldn't think more than maybe 300 or 400 hours.
Yeah.
It's not even that dirty. Usually they're filthy. They're gummed up with so much crap that you can't even see the case, and it's pretty clean. And it's not been cleaned yet, so that means it is in pretty good shape. Mm-hmm. Not any bad wear on the side covers. Nobody's really beat this up. Even the
Kickstarter's in good shape.
Kickstarter's in good shape, and they're usually crap.
Yeah. Show us that cylinder. What do you think of that?
Well, the cylinder's got a little bit of residue in it. Quick hone on that. Just a real light hone. New piston and new stock rings should be fine. If we have to hone a little more, we will have to get some rings that are a couple thousandths over. But shouldn't have to. There's no ridge in this one.
Yeah, usually you get a bit of an egg shape on ones that have been run longer. You'll actually feel a lip here too, and this one actually feels really good.
This at all. It's
yeah,
totally
it feels nice.
Clean.
So yeah, we looked out on this. We picked this up over in Newcastle, and usually the 200s blown up are going for close to $1,000. So we got this for a good deal, and this is what's going to be the new motor and chassis. We're going to take the chassis and paint it and sandblast it and get it all cleaned up, and then all these suspension parts over here are what's going to become the upgraded suspension for this bike. So more to come on that. Of course, if you've been following along, you know we're going to be putting this Xr250 apparently L suspension. I actually need to look more into this. We had trouble finding a sprocket for this rear wheel, so I'm going to have to do some more looking onto that. But that's a problem for another day. Today is motor day. If you followed along last week, we did a pretty simple tire change on both these rims. So now they got nice fresh tires on there, unlike the bald ones that it came with. So it looks like this motor's in pretty good shape. You might getting a little bit of a leak out of this one seal down here. We'll evaluate that and see if we need to replace it or not. Oil looks pretty good in there, so we're off to a good start. Usually we would video the whole tear down process, but if you watch the whole video, we'll explain everything. You basically take it apart the same way you would put it back together. So we'll make sure to explain everything. If you got questions, please put that in the comment section. We'd be happy to answer that. Like I said, we've done probably 20 or 30 of these motors over the past 6 years, so you know the 200 motor is real simple to rebuild and an all-around great bike for the trail. So those are the tools you're going to need, and we will get more into that as we go along. Also, I did forget to mention, this tool here is like $8 on eBay. This is what you need to get the clutch off and the oil passage retainer nut. So this is a very useful tool. I've seen people make these. But for $8 on eBay, you can't beat the price, and you're going to need it. So make sure you order this before you tear your motor apart. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of stuck in your tracks, and there's really no good way to use a screwdriver to beat that nut off of there. I know I've seen people try and do that, and it just makes a mess. So those are key. And then I'll also point out here that you have your spacers on the left side of the motor. Hardly any play in this crank. It's actually really nice for a bike that's a 96. So it's
yeah, this motor has never been really abused. It is very clean.
Let's take a look at those rockers.
They're nice.
Yeah.
Everything's nice. They're
Yeah,
smooth
rockers.
as glass.
Yeah, rockers look really nice. So
this motor has very low mileage on it,
comparatively to what we've worked on.
Yeah, we've had some that.
Been junk.
There's grooves in the cam. This cam is smooth as glass.
Yeah, it's a nice looking cam, and the bearing on here has 2000s play on there, which is perfect.
And it is smooth.
And it
as
is
glass.
really smooth. So we've seen some pretty bad cams.
Yeah,
in our time.
you can wallow them on there.
We ordered a new piston tomorrow with new rings and all the hardware, so that's what we'll be putting on this bike. Get it through the break-in period. Cylinder we honed, as you've seen, so we got the honing done on that part. So yeah, we're gonna get to building it. I'm just gonna let the camera run. We'll walk you guys through it as we kind of go along. I'm gonna put the camera over here on the other side, and we'll give you any pointers that we might have as we kind of go along. So we're not gonna do a time lapse. That way you guys can kind of see how it all comes together.
All right, use a little bit of 10W30 oil. What we do is paint the cylinder inside. Get a nice oil base in there before we insert the honing tool.
Yeah, basically
Kind of a messy job. You want to put a rag underneath when you're doing this.
Yeah, it does spray out of there, so a rag is always helpful. Another thing to note with this is the quicker you go in and out of the cylinder, the better the hashing's going to be. So as you put that in and out of the cylinder, you want to make sure it goes all the way down to the bottom, and you want to shoot from this direction down. And then you want to make sure that, like I said, speed is key on this. You don't want to do this for too long. So I'm going to go ahead and hold the cylinder, and Papa's going to go ahead and try and keep this as straight as possible.
Let's see, we're on.
And just make sure this is going forward so we're not loosening.
We're going to be as straight as possible.
Yeah, straight as possible. Oh! Oh! Okay, pull that apart and take a look. No hands were harmed in the filming of this video.
Beautiful.
Alright, so let's wipe that out and
Just
show
a light,
the camera.
light hone. Might have taken half a thousandth off of that, if any.
Wipe this out. I'll show
More or
you
less
guys
just
what it
clean the
looks like.
dirt out of it.
Yeah. So now you can see there is some discoloration to the cylinder, but this is actually extremely smooth. It looks like it might even be pitted, but it's not. So we really have a nice smooth cylinder. It doesn't look super beautiful, but it's not new, so you can't expect it to be super,
that's good.
brand new. But yeah,
That's good. That's from sitting over the winter. Usually gets a little bit of residue on it, but feel that.
So yeah, that's basically how to hone a cylinder. We got some hashing
You can see
in there.
there's a couple little spots of lines in here. That's from where the piston sat over the winter. And you can see it's an older bike. It's sat in different spots at different times.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks. So next thing I'm looking at here is the head. I always usually just use a wire wheel on the head, and then we're able to just kind of clean up anything that's on here, any kind of corrosion or kind of mess. So there you go, nice clean head. Got all that nasty out of there. It's looking pretty good now. So give it a little wipe down. These valves look pretty nice. I think somebody replaced the intake at one point. We'll make sure to check valve clearances and we'll show you how to do that. We've done this so many times. We usually don't use a what do you call it? One of those valve shimming tools to kind of check the clearance. You should, and I'm sure somebody will yell at me for that, but we don't have any clicking in the bikes when we start them up, and we, like I said, we've done this like 30 times, so you can just kind of have a nice feel for it, and it's all good. So yeah, that's the head. So I'm going to put this camera right here, and I'm going to check how that looks real quick. So looks like you can see pretty good over there. I'll grab the camera periodically too to kind of show you guys what's going on, so stay with us here. Doing the motor build today. This is something you can follow along with when you go to do yours. Unfortunately, the motor was taken apart when we had it picked up, so we won't be able to show you how to take it apart, but it's the same as putting it back together, so it's actually easier to take it apart than put it back together. You will find that to be true.
Clips.
Okay, you got the clips. So we're gonna put these clips on here, and I will show you how that's supposed to be done. According to the manual, you're supposed to put space between the rings. I'm actually gonna bring the camera over here so you can see.
You need a little oil on that before you put them in.
No, I don't think so. So we got the
There's
piston here. You got your. Okay, let's leave those there. So we got the upper ring, the lower ring, and then this is where you have your two rings that hold the oil passage ring on there. So that's where your oil is going to come in with these holes. They've got some plating on here for wear protection. So these are actually nice pistons. They're built pretty good. We've never had any trouble with them. I know they're not a Wiseco, but they hold up pretty nice. This is a stock size.
They're as good as any.
Yeah, they hold up.
They're priced right.
We like a right price. So anyway, I'm gonna try and get these rings on here in a way that doesn't cause anyone to have a stroke. All right.
That's clean totally.
And then, so you could rebuild one of these at home. It's not super hard. We've done these motors a bunch of times, so it's not too difficult. I'm gonna take this towel and lay these rings on there. So we got these are the oil port rings here, and then we got our upper rings here. So we have the second ring, and the nice thing is with the Numera, they actually mark it. So this here is your second ring. You can see it's written right on there. And then on this one here, you got your top ring. So this is first. So pretty simple, pretty easy. Doesn't take a lot of rocket science to figure that out. So what I usually do is get the ring started on like one side, and I'll try and get it down into the groove it's supposed to be at. And I just kind of walk it around on there. So I just walk that ring right around the edge, and then I just push down gently until it kind of goes over the side there, and then just kind of walk her down all the way around the edge. I usually lift the ring on that side there, that way you don't scrape it, and voila, ring number 1 is on. Got a nice play in between there, and as we put these on, you'll see that I keep these rings on opposite sides so that way the oil doesn't pass through. So the next ring, the passage will be on the opposite side, the exit. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that top ring on. So that's always at the top. So just slide that bad boy on there. Yep, I did the wrong thing. 1 second. Get that first one in, and I'll start to walk the dog around it. Kind of walk her down over, grab it, slide her right into place, and there you go. You got your rings in, so you want to keep them on opposite sides. So I'm going to put one at the exit and one on the intake. So you see the rings, how it sets in there. You got the rings on opposite side, so you can see the placement that keeps the oil from passing through. So that's back off. Let's just try and put this oil passage ring in there as so. Pap right now is removing the gasket from the back of the thing there. And look at that, it popped right into place without a struggle. So I guess word of the wise is put that on first. You don't want to have to struggle to get your next ring on. So now that that has been completed, not liking that too much. Let's put it on like this here. There we go. Okay. Totally rolled right over the edge there. That's amazing. All right, yeah, so definitely put the oil passage ring on first. So that's the next ring in there, and then I'm gonna put this next one on here, and then that will be a wrap on Mr. Piston. And then before we put the piston in there, we'll be sure to oil a few of these components. That way when they're first run, they don't run dry. Nobody likes a dry component. No sense putting excessive wear on something you just bought, right? So, yeah, we actually picked up a new project today, Pap and I. We picked up a Yamaha TTR 250, and we picked up a Honda CT90, which will be our next full restoration video, so stay tuned for that. That's going to take us quite a bit of time because it is a real gem, right, Pep?
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's it. So basically you want to make sure that your ring gaps are in a different spot than all the other ones. So I'm putting my top ring gap in the exhaust, and I'm putting my bottom ring gap in the intake. So you keep this separated, and voila, so there's your piston. That could have went together easier, but there's a camber here, so
All right.
that's all part of the fun. Okay, and here's the old piston. You can see it's a stock, regular Honda pistons. This is actually an original Honda piston. You can see that, Honda.
That's a good piston. There's
It
nothing
is.
wrong with it. We're just putting the new one in because we have a part.
Yeah. And we figured we'd make the bike nice, get a nice fresh piston in there. It deserves it. All right. That's the other thing you want to check when you buy these. You can get these chain guides on like eBay. This one's in great shape, so you can see it's got the perfect ridge in the middle. This one isn't all worn out over here. We'll show you that. So they're in nice shape. The cam chain seems to be new, so you can actually get a cam chain and these guides for like $25 on Amazon or eBay, depending on where you shop. And they're a must-have.
Yeah, these are in real good condition.
Yeah, they're a must-have. Here, show everybody that one. Yeah, that one's in great shape.
It's still thick. It's not worn thin anywhere.
Yeah, and it isn't busted off on the bottom, which it typically is.
That's always a bonus.
That's always a bonus. So this goes in at the end. That actually goes right in through the head there. So our next thing is we're going to need these pliers to get this piston in there. We got to lube up that. This is the new one, so we got to lube this up before we put that in there with the piston. So we'll get a little oil if we have some down here, and we'll lubricate that. Pap's just loosening up the cam chain tensioner so that we can get that all in there at the end, which is a fun process. So I'm gonna move the camera back over here, y'all, and we will continue on with the next part. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, all that stuff, put it down in the chat. We love to answer questions. I try and keep up on all the comments that are put in on the videos. Because I have nothing better to do with my time. So, Pap keeps me pretty busy. It's a full-time job keeping up with this guy. So, bless his heart. Bless mine as well. How we doing there, Pap?
Tight.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You want to run it out with the tool?
Nah.
All right, he likes the wrench.
I could have popped the bolt out of it.
Yeah.
And it has to be real long, naturally.
Well, I think it's tight because the O-ring, I can see it coming up through there now. It's at the very bottom, so when you get that out of there, we'll have to fix that or put a new one in. That's exactly why it's tight. That O-ring got stuck down in there somehow. It's another thing to look for when you're doing these motors. The O-rings typically are in poor condition. I know that the head on this one was leaking. Either it wasn't tight enough when somebody rebuilt it, or from the factory, or it just leaked over time. But we'll be putting new O-rings in because we have them. So.
Well, somebody had Permatex or something on it.
No, it's the O-rings right here at the top. It's like, let me see here. Another thing, when you have a scriber, you're able to kind of.
No, there's no O-ring in there, is there?
Yeah, there is. That goes at the very top of that. So there's the O-ring. It's actually not in bad shape, so we'll just clean it off and get it in there. So you put it all the way at the top of the nut where it's supposed to be.
It's just to keep any oil from leaking out of there, but
Which it always does. That's a spot where you always see oil leaking out of these bikes. It's a pretty common problem. So the O-ring looks like it's in pretty good shape, and
that right side up.
I think so. There you go. So you just slide that back down onto where the spot's at, and you got your O-ring in there, and that's pretty much that. So I'll put that over there for now. That's the other thing we use the scriber for, so we push that down in here to release tension on the cam chain. So this one is working really nice, so that's good to see. All right, I would say we are to. Do we need to take the side cover off for the chain, or is the chain okay on here?
Chain's okay. It's on the. It's
Okay.
on the.
So
here.
I will show you guys something that you also can make if you need it. Let's see here. Do we move our special flywheel remover tool? We have a flywheel removal tool that we made. I wanted to show you guys if I can find it in our collection of crap, which is infinite.
It's a bolt with a nut wallet on the end.
Here we go. So basically, if you happen to have an old 200, you can just take the axle off of it and cut it, and you can weld a nut on there. So you don't have to do this. If you have a 200 axle and you need to get the flywheel off, just take your axle out of the bike, put it on your flywheel, drill it in there, and it'll pop your flywheel right off. You don't have to buy an axle puller. Honda made the same threads on their axle, so that's a great tip to have. We just happen to have an extra one of these parts bikes laying around that we weren't going to use, so we welded a nut on there, and this is our flywheel puller. So nice thing to have, and if you're going to work on these motors a lot, you definitely want to have a flywheel puller in case your chain comes off and you can't. All right, so I got a little oil on the pin here, so we can set that in there. Make sure your exhaust is pointing towards the front of the bike, obviously, because you don't want your that's gonna be a perfect fit. You don't want your exhaust pointing the other way. I've seen people put these together and the exhaust is pointing towards the back, and that does not work. So I'm gonna set that there for un momento, por favor. Slide that bad boy down on there. Out. Just slide that bearing right through there. apparently this is really tight. I just oiled it, so it shouldn't be so. Okay, there we go. I was just having a problem there. All right, so that's in. We got that oil. She's just a wee bit dry. Remember, lubrication is everything, fellas. No lube equals no fun. All right, so now we got that piece put in there. So now we have our pin through there, and we're going to put these clips in. So I need Pap to hold the piston, and I will get these clips in with the help of a pair of needle nose pliers, because this is a real pain in the butt sometimes. So,
Well, you got it on already.
yeah, I said I didn't need that. All right, if you want to hold the piston, I'll start putting these rings in. We should put a towel in underneath of the piston, so if we do drop a ring or ring flies off, as it always does, you don't have a ring in the bottom of your motor, because that's pretty much worst case scenario. So, what happened to the other ring? Oh, here it is. Okay, I have both over here. Yes, we put that down in there. And you can put one on your side.
What's over here?
All right, so now that we've got that in there, we can safely put these clips in. They,
Oh, you didn't put the one in first.
I haven't put anything in yet. I was waiting for you. So, get this thing out of my way. It's always in my way. Oh, holy shit. Don't move this hammer. I'm gonna get smacked in the face. As much as you'd like that. All right, so you grab your clip here. I'm gonna put this one in on this side first to start us out. Best thing you can do is to set the clip right in that spot and then just push it up from there. So you're probably not gonna see this, but that's okay.
Try not to lose.
And try not to lose it is the biggest thing, because that is like the worst. What was that? Pep, pep. Pep, 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 pep. Get in the hole, you peasant. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need that in a minute. So I usually take the scriber and just kind of push this to the right and keep it as straight as possible. If I can get it in there. Oh, and we're back out. Okay, so this takes a little patience. You have to be able to get that in there just right, and then you're home free.
Try to hold it as steady as possible.
It's just getting it in that groove and not to turn. That's the trouble. Some of these clips too come with a little bit of turned edge, and it makes it so much nicer. These ones do not, so you gotta fight it. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, just work it around.
Oh, it was right on the edge. Oh, right there again.
Screwdriver?
Yeah, flathead would be nice. We have one. Nope, that's too late. It popped out. I couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky business with these. All right, now it's in. So I'll show you here.
Sits in the little groove.
It sets in the little groove there, and I usually just spin it up and away from that bottom section where it's at, and it's good to go. Doing it. I usually just hold the back, press up in this spot here till it gets over the lip, and then once it's over the lip, you can push the piece down into the groove. All right, top's almost in. All right, and I just gotta get this back, and then that's it. That's it. I'll go around there with the scriber and make sure that it's in all the way in the race. And it is, so there you go.
Okay.
Both sides in. So it's tricky, it's hard to get that in there. Alright, so now we're going to oil this cylinder so that when we put the piston on there, it's not getting scratched up or anything as we go along. There's quite a bit in there. Pap is the official oiler of Honda motorcycles. He's got this down to a science. So when you start your bike up the first time, it will smoke a little bit, but that oil burns right off, so won't hurt a thing, and it keeps
So
your
light coating
components.
is all you need. Okay.
Okay. So another key thing is you want to make sure, if you want to show the camera, those things at the top there have to be in the exact position, the oil ports, passages. So they're on opposite sides. The one closest to where
So
the
if you look at the bottom of this, your two big oil passages are right down here where my thumbs are. They slip over these oil passages down here.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to get a gasket out.
Yep. So in our box we have brand new gaskets. So get that one there. Yeah, the piston that came with the bike when we purchased it did not have the right size. So that was a bit of a pickle.
Okay, so you got over top of that.
Then you just slide your gasket down, and make sure you slide your gasket down first, because if you don't, you're going to be doing this again. So don't be that guy. We were almost that guy. We were heading in that direction.
No, I'm trying to think ahead here.
Yeah, we have a tendency to get ahead of ourselves.
We have a tendency to get in a hurry.
So if you see this is obviously the line where the oil passage comes up, so that's always going to be right there.
The gasket seated very nicely all around there.
And please, please, please always get all the original gasket off of the motor. If you leave any bits and pieces, it's going to leak. So when you put your new gasket on there, make sure it's clean. You do not need Permatex either. So the Permatex is not no, you're right. No, except for that part.
You take the cylinder. I'll take this.
So you just kind of walk this down over here. The next part's the tricky part, and I think this is the part why we need this off, so you can hold the flywheel. Remember, to keep it straight so I can get the piston on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pull this off and do that real quick. Alright, so we're going to pop that side cover off just to make this a little easier on ourselves. There's 4 bolts, they're all 8s. So I'm going to give Pat the tool here to break these free.
Yeah, give me the long extension, Josh. The long extension on the small drive.
Yeah, I'm giving you this to break them free, and then you can zing them off with that, because I'm sure they'll be tight. You'd think they'd be tight anyway.
Oh,
They're really tight.
wow. Hold the motor.
Yep, too tight. Also, I forgot to mention, guys, you're going to need a torque wrench when you put this back together to get all the proper torques. Your chain's off now.
No, it ain't.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, you're gonna have to slide that sideways now. Wait, let me get a hold of this.
Little piece of wire on that's always helpful. Because there's oil in the motor, we're making this harder on ourselves. Don't be like us. Drain the oil. Don't be that guy. We're being that guy.
Okay, I gotta get a wrench now to hold this.
Good.
Up to that point. Now, you take the wire here a minute. You got that?
Yep.
Okay, let me get the
What are we grabbing?
I'm gonna get a wrench to hold that. I think it's a 12. Okay.
Now you gotta hold this while I put these down in here.
Well, I'm holding a whole lot of stuff here.
That's good. All right, now, without me getting stabbed in the eye, I'm gonna move my chair because this is a bugger. Now you can't probably see this, but I'm gonna use the edge of this scriber to put these rings in here as I push down on the cylinder to make this a little easier. So I just go around the edges here and just press the ring in. You'll actually feel it pop right down. So you do not want to push it with the front edge of the scriber, otherwise you will scrape up the side of your brand new piston. And nobody wants to buy a bike that you've hacked up.
Crooked. It's got to tilt more to the tilt. No, tilt. There you go. Oop. Okay, next one.
The trouble is, you almost need like 6 hands to do this, and we only have 4. So if you have a third guy, it really makes it easy. I don't know how people do this by themselves. It's gotta be nuts.
Oh, put it here.
I see it.
You're crooked though.
I know I'm crooked. I just have to get the ring down.
There you go. You're starting. Put it right up. Oh, okay.
All right, now we're down. Okay, so we're in. So now Pap's gonna hold that real tight while I slide this down. And I'll try and get this in here best I can.
Yeah, you gotta hit that center. Okay.
Okay, and that's it. So now it's all the
Now
way
let
down.
me get. Hold the head.
Okay. Okay, that's top dead, so we're getting a little
Okay.
oil leak there off the top.
Well, that's from the oil that we pushed out when we oiled the cylinder when we put it together. So there is oil in there. It won't be dry when you first
Run it.
Run it.
So now we're going to put the side cover on. I'll have Pap hold that chain up. I'll put the side cover back on, and that'll keep another oil leak from occurring. Again, just drain your oil and make this easy on yourself. We didn't do that because, well, we decided to make it hard, naturally. So this is the part where you pinch the heck out of your finger.
Not really. Just
Oh, it's easy to do. It can be done. I've seen it done. I've done it.
yeah. That would be the ideal one to have on the gun, so you can get the thing in there because the other one don't fit because it's fat.
Yeah. I'm just going to swap out tips here.
All the way up in the front.
Tiny little thing. Barely even see it. Okay.
I'll tighten them later with.
Okay, now we can put it back down. We will have a nasty mess. Or any more of a nasty mess. Alright. So at this point, you want to get your head gasket after you wipe this a wee bit, because you will have a little bit of leakage from when we oiled the piston to get it in there without hurting anything.
Hold the motor, man. I'll give these a little snug up.
Well, not too much.
Dead. That one's good. That one's good.
Okay. So now that that's in, we're going to put our head gasket on. Like that.
Wait. Okay.
Okay, so the head gasket fits right around your spacers there, and it will smash down when we put the 22 foot-pounds of torque on the top connect hassle nuts when we get to that point. So you will need a torque wrench for this. All right, so now that we got that part on, let's take a look at the head here.
We got to put this down in there now or next?
That's going to go in now. So actually, it goes in right before you put the head gasket on, if you want to make it easier on yourself. So I'm going to set that in
There you go.
down there like so.
It sets in a little catch at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm gonna lift the head gasket up to get that in. That sits in there nice and tight, and then you slide the gasket down over top, and that's a wrap on your chain guides. So our next piece here is going to be our head. So I'm gonna slide that like so up through here. And we cleaned up the valves and all that, so it looks good. Everything looks nice and clean. Okay, head's on nice and tight. So at this point, we're going to get into the part where we have to put this tensioner in here on this side. So let me come around here. Now we have a...
Bolt's in here.
Oh, it's already in. Okay, so go ahead and pop that out, and I'll get that in
Put
place.
that tensioner in there.
So there's this weird tensioner bolt that comes up here at the top, and it's got a little washer. You'll see here it's like a little almost.
Okay, I got it in place. So I
Smaller.
gotta slip it through.
Let me see. I gotta always look at it. Here, I go.
Okay, you want to take it? Go ahead.
Let go. Yes, I would like you to let go. All right. All right, I believe that is a 10.
Gently. That's it. Okay, now, for all of you novices, this bolt is very important. It goes in here, and it has to go in there now.
Yeah,
If
and
you-
if you don't tighten it now, you won't be able to later. So do it now.
You
we're gonna get an
just
out now.
draw it down, just so it's hand tight. Don't press it, don't squeeze it hard. Later, we will tighten that when we do the torque on the top bolts.
And that will be before you put your
That's,
side
metric
cover
on
on.
the other side. And drive the next one down.
That's that one, I think.
Is it that one?
It's the one with all the wear on it. It's the one I would use. It has to be. It's just gummed up. Somebody else had been into this before us. Haha.
The guy who took it apart didn't have a wrench. He used an Allen bolt.
Now,
Or,
usually these have a
pair of ice
washer
screws.
on here too, but I'm not seeing
It has a washer on it.
No, it doesn't. It might have had one when you picked it up, but I don't know. This stuff didn't. Where's the washer? Oh, not that. Is that it?
Put a new one on.
Yeah. I want to put a little washer on here. There's supposed to be one. I don't know if it came with one or not. Again, when you get a used bike, sometimes people lose stuff, and that's just part of the joys of working on it.
Make sure this is the right size.
I think that's
Nothing. Next one up.
Yeah, this bike was taken apart when we picked it up, so didn't really have a good chance to have everything in one piece.
Is that going to be? I'm just wondering if that's going to be too thick. Yeah. Got the washer. We're back. Just going to snug this down tight enough. The reason you need a thin washer is because when you put the cover on for the firing mechanism, it has to clear it.
Yep. We're down to 17% battery, so we gotta get a move on here, folks. Also, there's this little rubber piece. You gotta make sure you have that on the top of the head. It kind of just pops in and out of there. And that's a key piece. So now the next part is we gotta get the cam in there. Take this bolt off for now. Set it right over here. And then we got this bearing. You can see how this bearing has a little thing at the bottom. It goes right into this hole down here.
And we got to pull that cover back off again because we can't see where top dead center is.
Yeah, we got to drain the engine.
Have to drain the oil at some point here.
Yeah, we'll take a little intermission here and drain the oil. We usually put the cam sprocket on after the fact, just as easier. So we're going to do an intermission here and drain oil, and then we'll be back. Okay, so after our brief intermission, we drain the oil and open the side thing up to make it easier on ourselves, because for whatever reason this flywheel, you couldn't really see the T or the F. So the key thing here you want to note is the circle at the top of the cam chain tensioner here goes all the way straight up and down, and that's going to be your guide.
Okay,
So
get the light back over here.
go ahead and
Put
set
that
this
on so I
down.
can see. Make sure this is in the right spot. Now, these are top dead center. These lobes are supposed to be up.
Yeah, well, the positioning of that no, they're supposed to be down.
Hmm?
Supposed to be down.
No,
Yes.
no, top dead center, they're up.
They've never been up. Let me turn this. They always sit just like so. Up would be open, remember, because the lobes are at the top. They're facing down, they're off. Facing up, they're on. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Okay, there's holes lining up here.
Well, this isn't even in, so.
The chain tensioner is trying to pop you up.
That's why we have this, to shove down into the
I did already.
tensioner hole. You gotta hold it.
Okay.
Did already's don't help you here. I gotta get this in the spot it ain't even on. Now it's in. Okay, so that's on. Now you gotta put your bolts in up top. The gun's already set up for you. I think it was set up anyway.
So tight.
You need the stabby tool. I can switch tools. You on straight?
I don't know. I keep jiggling until I get it so it will start.
You turning the right way? I think you're turning the wrong way.
That would be out that way. There it goes.
Gently on this, folks. You can jump timing with this part.
Where'd I put the other? Where'd it go? There it is.
You good?
Yeah, just choking. No, we're off because we're not on top of the center anymore. Everything moved.
And everything moved. Yeah, we're forward a link. You gotta go back one.
Gotta take it back off. Just watch them bolts don't get away.
I know.
Or I'll take it out by hand once you get it started.
Got it. Alright, so basically, when you're doing this, it's hard to get this on the right way the first time because
Hold that cam in place.
the cam, you gotta hold the bottom. Is this in top dead center? Because you're gonna have to go
I'm
back.
gonna have to check it again here.
You're gonna have
Hold
to go
this.
back one link, I think.
I gotta go one tooth.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go back out way one. All right, turn the cam to where it should be.
Right. All that tension on there.
Okay, right there.
Look at that. Pretty
Okay,
much.
now let me see where the top dead is here. Hold that in place.
Let me put this in here and straighten it out.
Right there.
Okay.
Now remember, it's supposed to be a little forward. Okay,
Well, when you
put the
push this
tension,
down, I think it goes backwards, right?
it pulls it this way. We're right on the spot we need to be. Okay, we're right there.
All right, now I'm gonna come around and put these cam bolts in. Sorry on that. Take a look here, we're pretty straight. Yeah, it's a tedious process, even if you've done it a bunch of times.
Get it crooked because it wants to go crooked.
Let me get this straight here. Where's the thing at? Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No.
Now I gotta come around and get this other thing started. I think I gotta put the head on, right?
Well, I want to check this top dead again. So hold everything there.
Oh, I gotta take these off so we can do this. That's the other part when you're putting this on. You gotta take the
That's perfect. Okay.
you gotta take these off so you can hold this. The impact's really helpful. That comes right off.
It's good to have a size socket that fits. You don't chew the head.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
these chew up really easy. We're gonna swap the gaskets on these in just a minute. And then this is what I do here. I hold the cam lobes up, and then I can slide the thing right down on it. So I just hold these up here as I pop on.
Okay, I'll hold the cam. You go ahead.
Okay, that's just like that. Pretty easy. Nothing to it. So let me put one of these castle nuts on here. Crisscross those castle nuts, and then we won't have to hold it anymore. And so I get those on there. I think these are 12s, I believe.
Now we will torque these.
To 22 foot-pounds with the torque wrench. All right, these are definitely a 12. And it's out somewhere. And we work in a very clean workspace, so it's easy to find everything.
That was the same size as the crank.
Yeah. There you go. So, put your 12 on there. Yeah.
Oh.
Fine. Alright, so now we don't have to hold on to anything because it's all pretty much bolted in. So we're going to get these castle nuts the rest of the way on here. And we'll torque them down, and we'll put the other bolts tight last.
Just give them a little. Okay.
Alright, so that's that. So now that we have that all set, we're going to torque everything down. We'll do the valve tightness last. It's 2 thousandths on the intake, 3 thousandths on the exhaust. So, grab the torque wrench. Did we put the torque wrench over there?
It's over here.
Is it?
It used to be over here.
It's over on this bench over here. Here we go. All right, so torque wrench. You're gonna set this to 22 foot-pounds. That is what the bolts on the top go. So that is 22 right there. On the torque wrench, you can see that. I put an extension on so I don't get my hands crushed here. And this is all Pap. I let him wield the tool. I hold the motor. It's a magical thing. Careful not to hit the camera if you can help it. So this will crush down the head gasket. That's in between the head and the cylinder. And it will make sure that everything's at the right clearance.
As you do this, just keep crisscrossing until you feel it being fairly tight. And eventually it will start to click at some point.
Back it up. Alright, so there's your first click. And the crisscrossing is key so that you don't get the gasket messed up or cattywampus.
This one should be about ready to click.
There it is.
Now this one.
That's right there, yeah.
Now you go back, crisscross again, just until you get the click and you know.
Yep. Alright, that's it.
That's your 22
So
foot
that's
pounds. Now,
absolutely
now
key.
these, you just run these down.
Yeah, pretty much just run them on, and that's a wrap on those. The 8s.
No, we never cleaned that.
No, we can do it now.
The gasket, no, clean that off there. We get it.
Yep. Let's see here. These are 8s. Yeah. Yeah, these are just some 8s. You just run them down. They don't need to be like supernova tight. All the real tightening's just been done by the castle nuts up top.
And I'll take the small ratchet. Do that. Small ratchet.
And Pap does the final tightness check to make sure they're all even on the top. So, again, these bolts do stretch if you turn them too hard, so
Yeah,
be
when it
careful
gets
not to
tight,
do that.
you need to stop.
Yeah,
Because if you break one of these off,
it's gonna be a very bad time for you.
you gotta tear it all back apart. It's
Yeah.
tight enough.
That's it. So I'm just gonna put this adjuster on over here and get that hooked up real quick. So this here is also a vital thing. If you buy one of these bikes and it does not have the decompression, auto decompress, buy one. It's worth the money. It saves your Kickstarter, and it makes for a better riding experience. So make sure you have one. It's worth 30 bucks if I can get it back in the thing.
You're at an angle.
I'm aware of that. It's just I can't get it. Here, where's the thing?
There, now push it in. Push, just push in.
Needed that. Okay. So,
I'm the guy with the engineering tendencies. I can look at something and see what it needs.
yeah. I'm the village idiot. I just take orders. Yeah, we get a little heated sometimes, but that's all good. All in the name of running motors. So, it's a lot of fun.
Let's tighten it up right there.
Yeah. That's it. Alright, so now that that's on.
Going. There does it.
No, that's for some wiring.
Okay.
So next I'm going to swap out these gaskets here. The kit comes with them. These ones are pretty torched because it was leaking out of the head. If you look at the head, it's actually pretty greasy on the front. So they either didn't tighten it or this gasket's...
Okay, while he's doing that, I have a little bit of gasket I have to clean up over here.
Yeah, this is a pretty flat gasket. She is toast. So.
Which one's the 3? The back one?
The exhaust up front. So the exhaust valve is 3 thousandths, and the intake is 2 thousandths. So if you have something to measure that, you can do that.
They're close.
Are they?
Yeah.
I'll feel them here and see. We've done these so many times. We used to use the measurement tool, but now I just feel it by hand, and we never have any trouble. They don't make any clicking. They sound really good, so we avoid that thing because that's tough. And I would recommend you getting some feeler gauges and putting them down in there. There's a whole science to getting that just right too. So the feeler gauge does make it more difficult if you haven't done it a bunch of times, but it also gets you spot on.
Little bit tight.
So I usually pull up on them. So the front actually feels pretty decent. The back seems, I don't know. I like that.
You think
the front's I think a wee bit much because I'm getting quite a bit of pull up there. The back I would leave right where it's at. I would tighten that front one down just a hair. So
that is this wrench. This is always tricky.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tighten this one down just a little bit, you say, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was. Maybe that was the wrong size.
See what you think of that.
That's good. Yeah, they just have the ever slightest bit of play. Like I said, we've done this a million times, so you're supposed to put a feeler gauge in there and do it, but we've done it enough to where we just do it by hand. So I'm sure somebody will yell about
as long as there's just
yell about that, but hey, that's how we do it here at
I tightened it, moves, so now I gotta back it up and hold it.
And I got these brand new O-rings up top, so that's going to keep any oil from coming out. So we got the new O-rings installed, nice and fat, so it'll squeeze right down up top, and we won't have any kind of leaking.
Just tighten that a little bit while I hold this here. Let me hold. You hold that screwdriver tight, so don't try to turn. Okay.
Back's good, but the front, that's like 4 thousandths, maybe 5. I'd make that a little bit tighter.
I'll just do this. And I'll try it.
It's the same.
No, too much? Screwdriver.
Tighten it down just a hair. Hey guys, it's Josh from J&P Cycle. We lost power yesterday, so at the very end of our filming there, we ended up losing power and my batteries died on the GoPro. So unfortunately we weren't able to finish the video, but we did get the motor put back together, got the valves adjusted properly, and got the top piece all tightened down and torqued down at the end. So everything's put back together. We do leave the CDI cover off the side, but we do put the actual CDI unit on the side of the motor. If you leave the cover off, it's easier to mount it on the bike when you go to put the motor back in the chassis. So we'll get to that in the next video, but I just wanted to put a little update at the end here. Sorry about the inconvenience, and I hope the video helped you guys if you are going to be building a 200 motor. So thanks for your time, and we will see you guys in the next one.